Hi everybody, this is Karen. Welcome back to our channel called Our House, and today I wanted to do a book review for you. I'm still reading a ton, but I'm not really doing book reviews. However, I want to change that. I want to do the ones at least that I really love. And so I learned a lot from this book by Ben Fox called Reading Magic. Now I've been reading a lot of books on reading to your kids and reading aloud, like the Read Aloud Family by Sarah Mackenzie and a few others. But this one I really enjoyed because it gave a lot of tips, a lot of practical tips, a lot of things that I had not even thought of. So I wanted to share with you 8 things that I learned from Reading Magic. Number 1, words are essential. The more language a child experiences in conversations or through books, not passively through television or radio, especially television, then the more advanced they're going to be in every area of life. So words are essential. Number 2, there are 7 things that we can do with our voices to make reading aloud to our kids much more enjoyable, and 6 of these are opposites, so it's easy to remember, and they are loud and soft, fast and slow, high and low, and pausing. So obviously loud and soft, that kind of goes, you know, without saying.
Loud and soft.
Fast for speedier parts of the text where things are going fast. Slow, obviously slow. High voice for dramatic parts. Low for scary or low characters like pirates, things like that. And then pause to just give a great effect for a dramatic mood change in the story. And it has examples in here of text, and you try reading it the normal way, maybe that you would, and then reading it with the emphasis that they give, and it really does make a difference. This will really help you to keep your listeners more engaged. Number 3 is songs and rhymes are very important. Kids today are going to school and they really don't even know any kind of nursery rhymes anymore. It's really a shame, it's sad. So why, right? Why are nursery rhymes so important? Nursery rhymes provide comfort early on in life, and it exposes them to language. So whether you're reading it, reciting it, or chanting it, or sung in a low voice as they're being lulled to sleep, or saying it, reciting it, chanting it when they're awake, all of these are great. All of these are beneficial to the child. All of these also promote bonding with the parent and the child. So rhymers will be readers. Just remember that. Rhymers will be readers. It's just that simple. Number 4. Repeat the same books over and over again. Now I know how it is, like certain loved books just get really worn out, where a child just asks to have them read over and over and over. And as a parent, you might be thinking like, again, this book, can we read another book? But you want to read it to them so that it becomes familiar to them. It is part of their childhood now, and that's what you want. The language is no longer strange. It has now become familiar, and that's a good thing. That's what you want. So just keep repeating those stories over and over again, and just know that you're doing a great thing for your child.
Number 5.
Fairy tales are very important. Now I didn't realize this, but the question was asked to Einstein one time, what can I do to make my son smarter, to make him brighter? And he answered him, read him fairy tales, fairy stories. That's what he said, read him fairy stories. And she said, okay, and when I've done that, then what do I do? And he said, read him more fairy stories. So there is a lot of benefit to fairy tales. Obviously be selective, pick the ones that have the good morals, but this is why they're so great. They make the child pay attention to detail. They really help them with their problem-solving skills when they're listening to these stories. They have a lot of emotions in them. They have morals. They're oftentimes good moral stories. They really engage their imagination. Okay, oftentimes there are grand examples of love in the stories, or sorrow or courage. I'm thinking of so many that are like that. They also give you a lot of cause and effect, and they stay in your mind. I read in the book that I think prisoners, people in jail, prisoners are read fairy tales because a lot of them did not have those read to them as they were kids, and so they didn't understand cause and effect. And that is something you really do see in fairy tales, where a character is doing something bad and they pay for it. And so kids who grow up just watching television and they're not being read to, they don't hear these stories, they don't hear about this cause and effect or morals, they often don't think that their actions will cause them consequences out in the real world. So fairy tales are very important. We do this. Number 6.
Number 6.
Okay. Make reading correcting fun. So oftentimes parents are worried about, when my child is reading, do I correct them? And if they make a mistake, do I not correct them? So here's one technique to make correcting fun. You have a book that they enjoy and you say, okay, I'm gonna pick a word and you tell me what letter it starts with. And then you pick a word and I'll tell you what letter it starts with. But here's the trick, we can't pick the same letter, so you're gonna have to keep track. So they're gonna have to get a piece of paper, and each time they say a letter or I say a letter, they're gonna write on a piece of paper, practice writing that letter. They think they're just keeping track for this game, but you're getting them to practice their letters in a fun way. And so then obviously you're reading the words, you're talking about sounds, you're talking about letters. So that's one fun way to make reading correcting fun, okay?
Number 7.
Number 7, let's talk about boys and reading, because I've noticed this is a thing. I'm teaching my 7-year-old boy how to read, and he is very different than my girls. He's still struggling a little bit, and I've talked about this on homeschooling boards and support boards, and I find that it's a very common thing with boys. So what can we do for boys? Okay, number 1 is get them young. Read to them early. By the time they get to 12 months, between 12 and 18 months, they're at a stage where they're just all over the place and they're really physical and they're not really thinking about books or sitting down to hear you read books to them. So get them early, but also no matter how active a boy is, bedtime is key for reading aloud. Every little boy gets tired out at the end of the day, and so that is your magical time to read aloud to them, to have story time is at bedtime. It might not happen during the day, but you can work it in at night. And just by reading to them and making it regular, their reading will improve. Which leads me to my last point, number 8.
Number 8.
Have dad read to them. Have dad read to them aloud. So, especially if you're a homeschooling mom, a lot of the instruction, obviously, in education is going to come from the mom, from a female. So it's important that boys don't think that reading aloud or just reading books in general is a female thing. So encourage dad to have a special read aloud time with the boys. That's going to make a really huge difference. And I've seen this because my son was struggling with reading. I asked my husband, could you read aloud to him, have like a boys story time, just you and the boys every day at the end of the night. And so he started doing it, and it really did wonders. Number 1, I saw the boys were really excited about books now. They were reading boy books. Dad was reading to them, and it opened up conversations after the books, just heart-to-heart talks. Really, this is one of the best bonding methods, ways to bond dads with their children, is through reading books, because sports, there's not a lot of talking involved most of the time, and so with reading, obviously words are essential. There's tons of words, lots of talking, and so it's just great for dad, it's great for the kids, it's great for bonding. all around, it's just a great thing. Those are 8 things that I learned from Mem Fox Reading Magic. It says why reading aloud to our children will change their lives forever, and I really do agree with that claim. And so I will put a link in the description below to find this book. Let me know in the comments below, what are you reading right now? What book are you really into? Do you like nonfiction, or do you like to stick to fiction? You know, what do you like to read? And what have you learned from the book that you are reading right now? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.